Welcome back, folks, to Let's Replay Albion. And when last we left off, the conspiracy has finally been revealed. It turns out that the company likely knows that Albion is a populated world, and simply doesn't care, because it needs the minerals from this planet. Otherwise, the company is likely to go under. And so, they're doing everything that they can to ensure that this succeeds. At the moment, they're bribing the crew with a big pay rise, but if that doesn't work, Captain Brandt and Ned, Captain Brandt is complicit in this conspiracy, could theoretically run the ship by themselves, because Ned could power everything and run everything, and there are enough AI bodies around to render the human crew expendable, should the need arise, and that is not good. Tom here doesn't want to see Albion mined into oblivion, and so with Joe's help he's going to try and stop it by severing Ned's connection to the fusion reactor that powers him, and pretty much the entire of the mining operation. Because, at the moment Ned is talking to the captain, which means that he is very distracted, and the cameras here are not really focusing whatsoever. So we're going to use this opportunity here to try and be very sneaky. Also, Joe is sort of convinced about what we're doing, but not entirely convinced, as we're going to talk to him now.
What's up, old man? We have to hurry before we're discovered.
Joe, thanks again for helping me out.
Hey, you know you can't tell when I'm blushing. Anyway, I trust you more than the company. Of course, if it turns out you're talking nonsense, I'll be oh so glad to tear you apart.
Thanks for the vote of confidence there, Joe. We need to go and find a way to get into the service level, and I hope you like puzzles, because there are a lot of puzzles here. Also, this is another one of those doors that requires a code card. We're going to be getting a code card a little bit later, and we're going to be ignoring the door to the right now, because we want to go there a little bit later. In here is a grand total of absolutely nothing, but it is worth coming this way just so that we find out exactly what is in this direction, namely a door, but not any door, this door.
This lock leads outside. It's sure to have a high alarm priority. If we open it, we'll have the AI and the security forces down on our necks immediately.
It's not a wise idea to open that door whatsoever, because after all, we want to make our escape only after we've done what we need to. I'm sure Tom could persuade many people about the fact that the planet is indeed populated with life. Also, we need to have a look at what Joe has here. Joe is a 32-year-old Terran technician who is level 12 and has 48 training points, which is not bad. He has 45 out of 70 strength, 50 out of 90 intelligence, 80 out of 90 dexterity, he is very fast indeed, 40 out of 50 speed, again very fast, 60 out of 65 stamina, which is also very good, 8 out of 25 luck, 0 out of 20 magic resistance, I think that is the lowest of anyone, and no magic talent. He has 40 out of 50 close range training, he has 10 out of 50 long range, he has 0 out of 3 critical hit, and he has 80 out of 99 lockpicking. The highest out of all of the characters we've met by far. He only speaks Terran, and it doesn't matter where we put him in the combat positioning right now, because we are not going to be getting into any combats whatsoever here. What we need to find right now is we need to find that service entrance, and I think it is down here if memory serves.
There has to be a service panel behind this door where we can climb down into the service level.
Can you open the door? It shouldn't be more difficult than how you opened my door, right?
Oh, probably. But I only had one programmable card. You know how difficult it is to come by those things? Moreover, it looks as if this door can only be opened with a code.
And where are we to get this code?
No idea.
And indeed, we have no idea right now.
This goes to the main area of the medical station and the quarters of the security forces. There's a lot of people there. It will be better if we try and find an entrance to the service level from here.
And indeed, we are not going to be going that way. Or that way. Where we are going to go is we're going to go the way that, to the door that we didn't open before. Because there's something that we can do there that is really good and fortunate for us. Very fortunate indeed. Let's go and have a look in here, shall we? Nope. What about here? Ha! There's nothing like human failure. It's good, but there are so many people who can't remember their code numbers. Let's try it. And indeed, here is a notebook, a plot-important item that has a code on it. Someone hastily wrote down a sequence of numbers on a scrap of paper. 1001. That is not a very good code whatsoever, considering that you have a lot of numbers to choose from. But indeed, this code is used for this door here. And now we're going to open it. And we have a lot of numbers we can choose from. But we know which one we want. We want 1001. Let's go and find it, shall we? I like the idea that there is this bar here, but I hope that's not how they actually open them. It looks like it's more buttons than a slider bar. There we go. Code correct. Opening door. And indeed, the door is now open. And you need to pay attention here. Ah, the service panel. The code for this access is 1712. It is not repeated, so you need to get that open. Also a green code card. We're going to be using that in a moment, so we're going to open the door beforehand, though, with 1712. I don't think any of these codes change, so you could just remember them or write them down. Correct code. Service panel opening. We're actually going to be backtracking a little, though, because remember the door that I said needed a code card? We can open that door now, and we might as well put that over there, because we don't need that item anymore, at least for the time being. And so we're going to go and open this door using the card that we just got. There we go. Opening this door has one very particular and important purpose, and that is this area here. I heard that you like stim drinks, so the game gave you a lot of them. The game gives you 12 here. That is a lot of healing, and while it's not as good as all the other potions that we have, I'm certainly not going to complain about taking it, because after all, it is free healing at the end of the day. There we go. Not bad whatsoever. 10 healing potions. 11 healing potions, and 12 healing potions. If you didn't go back here, you'd miss all of those free goodies. Unfortunately, as far as I know, there is no extra gun you can get here or extra ammunition. You're pretty much stuck with the ammunition that you had from the very beginning. And now we're going to go into the service level, an area that is absolutely full of puzzles. In fact, this whole area is pretty much just puzzles. We're not going to be fighting anyone here at all. Which kind of makes sense, because we'd probably absolutely crush them with our Fireblade and our Dream Shield, and then they'd just shoot us and we'd die. So far, so good. Let's try to get from here to the reactor area without disturbing anything. If we do, we'll have Ned and the security guards on us immediately. We must operate several strange control devices to get through here. Strange control devices is indeed right, and also this is a quite large area. I also like the design in the background here for the map. I might have mentioned that the first time we were in one of these areas, but it's worth mentioning again. This is an area where we need to do a lot of puzzles, and some of them are rather clever. There is a door here we can't open. We need to get one of the service droids over here, and we could do that by finding a service droid. There isn't one over here, but there is one in the middle area here. Unfortunately, it's not going to be working, and we're going to need to fix it. We could equip Joe here as the leader, because Joe is a technician, and just get that working, but let's try it with Tom first. Tom fumbles around a bit with the robot until Joe comes to his aid. After some adjustments, the service machine actually comes to electronic life and begins to move. It's actually currently following us, and that is very, very important. We need to be rather slow so that the robot can follow us, so it can go over to here and open the door for us. There we go. A little bit more. There we are. We are out and free. And here is an area that we can't currently open. Not at all. The switch lights up briefly, but apart from that, nothing happens. And now the thing in the background is lit. We can now press it. As soon as Tom operates the switch, the wall instantly disappears into the ceiling. And that is a good thing indeed. We need to explore a lot here because there is a lot to see, and quite a few puzzles to do. Like this here. The position of the switch does not change. Curious. Well, we're going to go over here now and likely find a switch that is exactly the same. There we go. And now I think we can go back to the other side and change the switch there. Can we? We can indeed. And that opens up something very, very important. Another one of these wall cabinets from the beginning of the game where we hit that gun. Someone forgot a small piece of paper in the cabinet. A piece of paper with a number on it. Well, well. You know it's strictly forbidden to write access codes down anywhere because of security regulations and so forth. Of course, I know a couple of Alzheimer's candidates who write down their codes and leave them lying around at their worksite. They feel pretty silly by the 5th time their inspector has to save them because they've forgotten their codes. I think this might be where the paper came from. Of course, the code isn't all here. The paper's torn. And indeed it is torn. This is the only piece. We can read it. It has the number 1 and 2. In a sequence, we need to find 2 more pieces of paper to get a 4-digit code. And we're going to need to search this whole area to find all of them. There is a closed chest there. The game classes it as a treasure chest. And here, I think, is another puzzle. Yep, this one is a timing puzzle. You need to be very, very quick, and we are not going to be fast enough, I imagine. Or we are, but we're purposely not going to be the first time round. All red fluorescent lights turn off immediately. Apparently, we're dealing with a time-dependent control here. And we are. Let's do that again, but this time a little bit faster, shall we? There we go, and we turn around and move as quickly as we can, and press this button. There we go. Whoever invented time control puzzles in the Toronto should be fired, if they haven't already been fired. Because that is a terrible, terrible thing. And here is an absolutely massive puzzle that we can't yet solve, because this is another timing puzzle. Unfortunately, we need to press all 4 of the switches up there to be able to do anything. Shoot! I bet we have another damn time switch here. And we do, and unfortunately, we cannot get into any of these fast enough. Well, not all of them anyway. So we're not even going to bother. The light plates go out. Damn. I assume we now have to activate the 4 switches in the corridor before we can get back. We'll never be able to do it in such a short amount of time. It's too far. The idiot who installed this should have his fingers chopped off. But there is a alternate way of making it easier, and it involves this floor here. We need to light up a sequence of these floors, and we can reset it using that button if we get it wrong, and if we get the right thing, this will be made easier for us. Again, this is one of those situations where if you remember the sequence, you don't need to go and check, but it doesn't hurt to go and check where it is anyway. So we're going to go and find out. And it is in here, in this massive, massive area of corridors that aren't really much of a maze because there is no danger whatsoever. You just need to be very, very careful in navigating around the right way, and eventually you will find where you need to go. Anything down here? No. It's all up here, and while we have the monster eye here, there is no real reason to worry because there are no encounters here whatsoever. It's not always going to be like this though in the Toronto. Sometimes there will be enemies, and here is a area much like the area we were at before, which shows us the solution to that puzzle. The 2 there on the left lit, and the 3 there on the right, and none of the center. And so now we're going to backtrack and go back to where we'd previously been, and do exactly the same thing, so that we can make our efforts a little bit easier. Just a little. This place, if you know what you're doing, is actually rather short, but if you don't know what you're doing, it can take a little while. But as you can see, we have been in the Toronto for quite a while, and the game hasn't forced us to rest or anything like that. For some reason, this part of the Toronto, we don't need to rest whatsoever. The option is in fact not there. It will be there later, however. And I think we want to go, I think we've gone way too far, because the walls of the Toronto look very, very similar, no matter where you are in them. There we go. Let's go and solve this puzzle, shall we? 2 forward, like that, and 3 forward, like this. There we are, and pressing this button will make it easier for us. Yes, that was it. The plexiglass walls behind us have raised. Now we have to handle the time switch. Indeed, now we don't need to go the long way around to open up all of those, or press those buttons. There we go. Now we have 1 there, and we can go 2, 3, oh, a little bit careful there, 4, and 5. Ha! That noise was music to my ears. If the door doesn't open now, I'll be very surprised. I'd love to know what screwball program the systems down here. But you need to be a little bit careful because this button is now, no longer pressed, and if you press it again, it opens up another area here that leads to another one of these wall cabinets. There we go, the second part of the code, which we are now going to read. Let's see what it says. It says 3. And know before you ask, the code is not 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a silly code you would only see on certain people's luggage. And so now we're going to move to another area. An area that is going to have a, at first, very, unusual puzzle. Here are some more of these panels that you need to, get, robots on. And a lot of confined robots. What you want to do is you want to unleash all of them. As soon as Joe operates the switch, the wall instantly disappears into the ceiling, and the robot is free. And we're going to be doing that with every single one of them. Every one. And this one has one where the floor has not been lit up. We're going to be going back there in just a moment, as soon as we have released all of these robots, because we need to release all of them. And you heard what sounded like a door opening there, because that is what we actually want to have happen. As the robots go over these panels, the doors to the east will open. And we need all 3 of them open, and that's why you unleash all of the robots, because it makes it more likely it will happen. Unfortunately, it only makes it more likely and not guaranteed, so we're going to have to wait just a little bit. But do this first, and open up the area to the third and final part of the code, which, while the number is indeed a number 4, it is still not 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't quite remember which one it is, but now we have to wait for these robots to press the buttons and open up the way over here. This may take a little bit of time. Just a little. Okay, robots, in your own time, if you'd like to go over the thing so that I can get through, that would be brilliant. And this is when the robots don't do that, and I'm just sort of sat here forever. I was going to say stood here, but sat is an even worse word. So we're going to wait here and see what's going to happen. What is going to happen indeed? Who knows? Who knows? Well, what is going to happen eventually is that we're going to be able to get through here, but it's going to take a bit of time. No, you can't go through here. You need to go over there and activate... No, over there. Not over here. Over there, and activate some of these switches. It would seem the game does not want us to move on just yet. And I think that one might have already been activated, because we really, really need to get through here. Okay, game. This is where... Oh, another one of the doors has opened. Or has it? No, I do believe it has. We now have, or maybe a different one has opened, because now we... Oh, there we go! We're through. Excellent. And now we're going to open up this here. I think this leads to the hall in front of the reactor core, but that code entry panel is going to be a problem. But wait a minute. What about those notes we found? Those have to refer to the code. We have a number of combinations we could do. I do know what this code is, however. It's actually 4312, because you know that 1 and 2 are together. So, you don't have that many choices as to where the other ones go. It is 4, 3, 1, and 2. And we're going to input that right now. Okay, just a few more. There we go. We are in. And we got no experience whatsoever. Okay, that's that. This is the hall which surrounds the reactor core. From here, we should be able to get to the core. The core is pretty much right there. And we could look around and have a look at all these doors, and we really, really don't want to go into any of them, and I don't think we actually can go into any of them, so we're just going to look around and then head into the core itself. Because, hey, the core is indeed where we want to go. There we go. Finally, so this is the reactor room. The
fusion reactor is right behind there. It's worth taking a look at. Otherwise, we should be on the lookout for the console. We might want to have a look at the fusion reactor. Why not? The console is what we need there, and we could go in here? Let's have a look, shall we? Anything in here? The answer is there is, and that's the reactor. Look at the light. They've installed a viewing port which allows only a small part of the fusion's light through. What a fantastic sight. Let's have a look, shall we? This strong filtered viewing port makes it possible to look directly into the heart of the Toronto, the fusion reactor. The tame forces of the sun supply the installation's energy. We're going to be back here later. For now, however, we're going to let Joe do his thing and deal with the reactor as best he can. It's a good thing that I saved there, because the game crashed partway through the next segment, which I hope it won't do again when I try to cut Ned off from the power supply. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, eh? Well, he could shoot us, but otherwise, what's the worst that could happen? This is the console I was talking about, Tom. If you cross your fingers, I could make an attempt to cut off Ned the AI from the energy supply. Shall I try it? Should Joe try to manipulate the console now? The answer is yes, because if you don't really go anywhere, and you just get the option again when you try and examine this. So yes, let's try it indeed. Joe gets to work, and also Joe is no longer a member of the party. This may change later. Let's see. I'm no expert with these consoles, but this has to... Off you go! Suddenly, Joe is interrupted by a voice on the loudspeaker. Off you don't go, Joe. It would seem like we may have been busted. Tom Driscoll, Joe Bernard, stop your activities on the control console immediately. Some security personnel are already on the way. I must take both of you into custody. Do not resist. The security personnel are armed. Indeed, we have been busted. Oh no, the AI! Perhaps we were a little too slow in getting here. Ned, do you and Brandt really think you can conceal the truth about this planet? Simply put, yes. The prerequisites are favorable, and the chances are good. The existence of the company justifies taking some risk. What? You're telling us right to our faces that you consciously intend to destroy this world? Maybe Ned is really confident that, Tom and Joe won't be able to tell anyone, because they might die very soon. What's with Captain Brandt? If he cannot show what happened on the flight, he will lose his license forever. That is right. Subsequently, Captain Brandt will be subjected to an investigation. Then, naturally, DDT will be forced to fire him. He will have to spend his life as history's richest unemployed person. Unfortunately, I have to keep both of you locked up until the mission is over. Don't worry, we will provide all the conveniences you will need. Sure, and the moon is made of green cheese. Why do I get the feeling that Tom doesn't believe the AI? Joe? Yes? Let's go. Quick. Tom and Joe storm out of the reactor room. They're looking for a lock in the infirmary area which leads outside. And we've seen one of them before. We went to examine it before we went into the service level. And off they go, because things are indeed going wrong. Very wrong. On the way through the service deck, Tom and Joe barely escape the security forces, without taking any damage, and considering that, service deck is very, very linear, I wonder how they avoided them. They run quickly through the infirmary area to find the lock to the outside, and we know where that is, so we know where they're going. Off you go! Run, Tom and Joe, and that door did not open. Curious. Nearly there! Oh. Tom and Joe have almost reached the lock to be outside, when they see one of the AI bodies blocking the way to freedom. Tom Driscoll, Joe Bernard, your resistance against ship rules and your apparent readiness to go against the interests of the firm, unfortunately, make drastic measures unavoidable. I'm sorry. The AI body raises a weapon, and Tom has been cut in half. I have no idea why that happens. It happens all the time. And then a fireball from nowhere! How convenient! Very convenient. Damaged by the fireball, the AI body staggers around helplessly. I wonder where that came from, eh? My god, what was that? How'd you do that? Little present that they gave me on the island of the shantos. Indeed, that small gem that I haven't been using. Any more questions? Dozens, but no more doubts about your story. Good. Okay, let's beat it. It'll be hard enough to get through the desert unnoticed. And off they go! Bye, Ned! We'll never see you again. We'll see you again. Tom and Joe succeed in avoiding the Toronto search party. Tom is heading to the cave which leads under the mountains to Umasha Kenta. They reach their destination at dawn. And what a surprise! Everyone is still here. What Tom only dared to hope has happened. The companions have waited for his return. Everyone embraces each other excitedly. I don't think Thunag does that, but everyone else does. After the initial joy of seeing each other, Tom introduces Joe and roughly outlines what has happened. Bad news, basically. We were afraid of something like that, Tom. I've already had a discussion with the other shantos. Let's return to the island so we can decide what to do next. And off they go, to have a long conversation. Tom and his companions storm into the meeting hall of Kantos's house. The Enlightened Ones are quickly called together. Tom breathlessly reports the company's plans, which the AI and Captain Brandt are about to carry out. The destruction of the planet is to continue. Oh dear. Oh dear, indeed. Our worst fears have been confirmed. Anim Enka has finally caught us. We should have guessed that we'd be facing the same situation as our forefathers. And you are sure that a few dozen Helromia, no matter how big their ship is, represent a threat to our entire world? You must understand, Burr, that this ship is capable of growing. The installation is expanding itself more and more. It is a self-maintaining process. It will take a while, but the damage to Albion is immeasurable. Tom, you are apparently angry about the behavior of your Helromia companions. Does that mean you're on our side? He's probably nervous about this. I've experienced a great deal on this world, Nemos, and my travels have brought me close to Albion and its inhabitants. Because of this, I would have certainly protested against continuing the project, but after how they treated us on board the Toronto, I'm ready to do anything. The ship's management is out for blood. What exactly happened? To make a long story short, Joe here freed me. Then we tried to switch off the AI so we could tell the crew about this world. You have to know, Honored Shantos, that not everyone on board the Toronto is ready to sacrifice a life-filled world intentionally. In any case, we failed. The AI told us to our faces that the company management will do whatever is necessary, whatever is within the law or not. Apparently, it's a matter of life and death for the entire company. During our escape, we saw why the AI spoke so openly about the plans of the company. It was a trap. We escaped with our lives only because of a little stone you gave me, Nemos. I was counting on the company's dirty tricks, but I hadn't guessed that it would make such a direct, overt attempt. Think about it. It was a foolproof plan. The accidental death of the inspector working with the irreplaceable comm unit. No way to communicate with Earth. By the time there's an investigation, the whole thing would be over. The government can't afford to send anyone out here. Now the question is, what do we do? You Shantos have told us about Anim Ebona, the entity of this world. Didn't you say that she has a kind of consciousness? Would she allow the destruction of her world? Herself? Oh, naturally, Anim Ebona will try to defend herself. I had disturbing visions while I was waiting for you, Tom. The world, the entity feels pain. Think about what happened when we started mining the raw material, Tom. I only understand half of what is being said here, but the difficulties we faced at the start were not normal. Things got better after we threw more equipment at the problem. Anim Ebona is not all-powerful. She is not acting against some diggers armed with shovels trying to profane her body. She is facing the embodiment of Anim Enkna, her antithesis. Her magic can do little against the principle of Anim Enkna. It's still a difficult word to say. The apex of that from which our people fled long ago. Does that mean we are helpless against the Metal Colossus? We must think. I'm happy that 3 Helromia, including a scholar, have come over to our side. Perhaps together we will find a way to conquer the threat. While Tom and Joe rest, the Enlightened Ones and Rayna hold a lively, intense discussion. The next day, Tom and the companions face the exhausted group's decision, and indeed, they were probably talking all night. Let's see what you have to say. We think we found a promising solution. It only took a day. I mean, we were really desperate to come up with one. It will certainly be the most difficult magic operation we have ever undertaken, but it does give us a chance. didn't you say that magic couldn't fight the Toronto? That was precisely our problem. However, with the Honourable Rainer Hofstad's help, we have come up with a plan. We should not attack Anim Enkna, a technological principle of the Helromia. We should make it a part of the magic process, so we could turn the Metal Colossus into something different. Unfortunately, the plan has one, or rather two, glitches. What Rainer Hofstad is trying to say is that we will create a magical artifact. Its power will be great, but not entirely predictable, and it has to be applied to a large energy source in the metal ship. To be exact, the fusion reactor of the installation. That is likely to now be heavily guarded. Slowly. So the first glitch is that we need to return to the Toronto, and what do we have to take to the reactor? We will try to create something, which we call the Seed. It is an amalgamation of very different magic principles. We have most of the knowledge for creating the Seed at our disposal. However, we lack two key pieces of information. They are held by two different cultures that rarely associate with one another. The Metal Makers, or Majo, are the first. As has been said, we have to involve the Anim Enkna principle in our work to affect the metal ship. The Amajo work on the frontier between Anim Enkna and Anim Ebona, the entity. They deal both with technology and magic. From them, we need to learn how to influence metal with magic. And I am afraid the Amajo may not want to share this knowledge with outsiders. Understood. And my second piece of information? There is also the matter of knowing how to harness large amounts of energy. Only the Kenget Kamulos have this knowledge. The Assassin Cult. A slight smile steals over Thunag's face. This is the Kenget Kamulos' core area of magic. The Kenget are trained in economic survival as well. We will try to make an attractive offer. Our community is more wealthy than it appears. I might possibly be able to make a deal with my former brothers. I could try. So, Nemos, we must first get the missing knowledge, and then, as we say, jump into the lion's den. We will use a magically charged object on the Toronto's reactor, and if I have understood you correctly, no one knows exactly what this will do. Am I right? In your direct way, yes, that sums it up. You and your companions are battle-tested or in possession of the necessary knowledge. However, we would naturally understand if... Okay, we'll spare you any concern. I can hardly say no now. If the others are ready to take the risks, the Enterprise can begin. No one backs out. Well, Malthus can't say if he wants to back out, but we'll presume he doesn't want to. Good. So let me summarize this. We're going to Amajo to try and get the knowledge concerning magical treatment of metal. Also, we are to stroll into the center of a murderous cult by the name of Kenget Kamulos and make them an offer which, hopefully, they can't refuse. Then you will try to develop this magic seed so we can take it to the Toronto's reactor and just wait and see what happens next. Thanks for the summary there, Tom. Indeed, that is what we're going to do. Everyone nods in agreement. Then Joe speaks. Here's an idea. While you're risking your necks, old Joe will work as cameraman. I will record a documentary with the camera I have. Indeed, he has a camera in his inventory that you can't get rid of. With a little bit of luck, we can load the documentary into the onboard network when we break into the Toronto. I'm just a bit excited about this. Sorry about that, my words got all garbled there. If we succeed in blocking AI access to the console for a couple of minutes, we can explain things about the planet and urge everyone to leave the ship. Sounds good. Make it so. Friends, there is no reason to delay any longer. Let's go get the two pieces of information we need. The shantos hand over 1,500 gold, and then the meeting breaks up. Tom and the companions are ready to go and head for the cave of the goddess. And indeed, we are taken immediately to the cave of the goddess, and if we wanted to, we could get rid of someone in our party and get Joe right now. But we don't want Joe right now. Andra is carrying way too much. Probably because of all this armor that Dra is carrying. So we'll just do that there. And now Harriet is carrying too much. Thunag, could you carry something? It would seem like everyone is carrying just a little bit too much here. Or way too much is probably a more accurate word. You're not carrying too much. You're not anymore. You're not. And you aren't either. Although you're not too far off. And you're not either. I think we need to pass over some more gold. How about all of it to Thunag here? And now Thunag is not carrying too much.
And when we come back, folks, we're going to try and save Albion from the Toronto. And Ned. Who would have thought that Ned was one of the evil forces in this game after all, eh? Ned and the company DDT. So I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.